Hello guys, today is October 1st, 2024, which means we're only 5 weeks away from the election night. In this prediction video, instead of counting the latest polls, we'll be counting the latest polling averages. So Trump and Harris are locked in exceedingly close race. ABC News predicts this to be the closest election since 1876. Latest national poll shows Vice President Harris leading Trump by 3 percentage points within the margin of error, and it is pushed by her skyrocketing favorability rate of 16 points from July. It seems that Trump will remain more unfavorable among Americans. But as we all know, national polls don't matter much. It is the Electoral College that is the main determining factor. Money talks this election as it is projected to be the most expensive cycle in history, with around $10 billion thrown in 7 swing states: Nevada, Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia. As you can see on our electoral map, I marked all the safe and likely states, and I don't see any benefits for either of two candidates from investing money into these states, since we're just a month away from the election night. Of the 7 swing states, Vice President Harris needs 44 electoral votes and former President Trump needs 51 in order to win. So I want to start off with North Carolina. According to polling average, Trump leads Harris by 0.6 percentage points. There's no denying that Republicans' margins of victory are getting thinner and thinner with each election here. What stands behind Democratic gains is the growing population of newcomers from California and New England states. 90% of newcomers are black and biracial and traditionally vote Democratic. These demographic shifts are opening the potential of shifting the state blue in the future. But this year, I think Trump still has chances of winning the Tar Heel state. Since 1976, North Carolina has only turned Democratic once in 2008, when Barack Obama won by 1/3 of a percentage point. In addition to that, pollsters seem to have developed a repeating pattern of overestimating Democrats here. Biden and Clinton were both projected to win but lost to Trump, which is why I think Trump will for the 3rd time in a row carry North Carolina. Heading down to Peach State of Georgia, the polling average shows Trump leading Harris by 1.3 percentage point. Republican-leaning electoral board approved a rule of hand-counting ballots to ensure the accuracy and integrity of election results. This decision sparked fears of delays and chaos among Democrats who fear this decision will go into Trump's advantage. Georgia's political landscape has been shifting, with Democrats making significant gains in recent elections, but Republicans still hold a considerable influence. Georgia did win to Biden in 2020, but by just 0.2% margin of victory. Historically, Georgia was a solid Democrat state which voted blue every single election from 1868 all until 1960. However, historic Democratic Party was socially conservative and very different from liberal Democratic Party we recognize today. Currently, Trump is performing the best in Arizona, leading Harris by 1.5 percentage point according to polling average. Studies have shown that he is performing better in the Sunbelt states because of beneficial top concerns here, and he's receiving an increased support among black and Hispanic voters. Arizona is the border state and thus has a record surge of migrant crossings, which goes into Trump's advantage. He already promised the biggest deportation in American history. 51% of Arizona's voters say that the issue of illegal immigration is extremely important, and the figure is surpassed only by the cost of living, which is at 69%. Since 1948, only 2 Democratic candidates won Arizona, Bill Clinton and Joe Biden, which is just another reason why I think Trump is more likely to carry this state. In the silver state of Nevada, Vice President Kamala Harris leads Trump by 0.9 percentage point, which is a much narrower lead when compared to 2020 polling average, in which Biden was way ahead of Trump at 6.4 percentage points. Yet Biden carried Nevada by 2.39%. In other words, 33,000 votes, and if just 16,500 votes went to Trump, Biden wouldn't have won the state. So Harris's 1-point lead just goes on to prove how incredibly close Nevada is going to be. Majority of Nevada's 17 counties are solid red, but very rural. Clark County, America's gambling capital, is the most populous county that votes Democratic, and it's literally 2/3 of the vote. Clark County runs a hospitality industry, which is why Trump and Harris have both announced no taxes for service and hospitality workers. Nevada was won by a Democratic nominee in straight 4 previous election cycles, meaning Trump lost the state twice, in 2016 to Clinton and 2020 to Biden. And now we're left with 3 Rust Belt states. These 3 electoral giants hold the key to the White House. Vice President Kamala Harris is doing surprisingly well here. Rust Belt states have the highest population of white voters without a college degree, more than any out of 7 swing states, which should be a demographic benefit for Trump. But if we look at the polls suggest otherwise. In the state of Wisconsin, Harris is leading by 1.6 percentage point according to polling averages. 8 out of 10 latest polls show her ahead of Trump by approximately 2 percentage points. As usual, Trump leads in rural, small population counties and Harris in urban cities like Milwaukee. Agriculture is a significant sector in Wisconsin's economy. By picking a Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her YP, who represented a rural district in Congress, Harris hopes to boost her rural appeal in Wisconsin. Top issues for voters is economy at 37% and abortion at 18%. In 2016, Trump narrowly won Wisconsin by 0.77%. However, in 2020, Biden flipped Wisconsin back to blue by even narrower margin of 0.63%. Once again, Wisconsin is going to be very competitive. Heading further east to the Great Lakes state, Michigan has Harris leading Trump by 1.9 percentage points. From the latest 10 polls, Harris leads in 5, Trump leads in 4, and the most recent poll suggests candidates are tied. Michigan has the country's largest proportion of Arab Americans, a hurtful demographic for the Democratic Party. Biden received strong backlash over his support of Israel during the war in Gaza. Meanwhile, Trump hasn't changed his opinion after he told Israel to finish its job in Gaza, quote, "get it over with fast." And finally, we're left with the Keystone State of Pennsylvania, where Donald Trump survived the first assassination attempt. So, the moment of truth. Here we go. The latest polling average has Vice President Harris leading former President Trump by 0.7 percentage point. For top issues, Pennsylvania voters are most concerned about the economy at 39% and abortion 18%. Economy is where Trump tends to be the best. As inflation spiked across the country under the Biden administration, the price of groceries have risen faster in Pennsylvania than in any other state. 1 in 8 residents in Erie County are considered food insecure. Meanwhile, Harris leads on question about abortion, another issue that 50% of Pennsylvanians think should be the main priority. So there we have it. Even if Harris loses Arizona and North Carolina and Georgia, it is the Rust Belt trio that gets her to 276 electoral votes. If she loses just 1 Rust Belt state, Donald Trump wins the election. So in this prediction video, Kamala Harris would beat Donald Trump and become the 47th president of the United States. That would seriously be the closest election since 1876, when a Republican nominee won by a single point. It is once in 148 years that we have such a competitive presidential race. We must also take into consideration a possibility of polling error again, because looking back at pre-election polls in 2020, they had the largest errors in 40 years. Even though Biden won the election, Trump was largely underestimated. For example, in Pennsylvania, Biden led Trump by 4.7% according to polls, but won by 1.2%. They overestimated Biden's margin by 3.5 percentage points. And now looking at Kamala Harris's much lower lead, if polls are wrong again, we know what this means. Again, all across the battleground states, we are seeing blue urban cities getting bluer and red rural counties only getting redder. In a race this close, it comes down to who's gonna squeeze more support from each county. As an example, in Erie County in Pennsylvania, Biden won at nearly 50% of support in 2020, but Hillary Clinton had 47% of support. And guess what? Trump won Erie County in 2016. It came down to just 1.6% difference in a county that determined who carried the entire state. Now guys, I want to show you even further how close this election could be. So in 2020, Biden beat Trump by what seems like almost a landslide margin, 306 electoral college votes to 232. But look at this now. If we dive deeper, you'll notice how razor thin this margin actually was. Biden carried Georgia by 2.47 million to Trump's 2.46 million votes, in a difference of 11,779 votes. If just half went to Trump, all the Georgia's 16 electoral votes would go to Trump. In electoral giant Pennsylvania, Biden beat Trump with 3.45 million votes to Trump's 3.37 million. In this difference of 81,660 votes, had just half of these Biden supporters went to Trump, he would have carried the entire state of Pennsylvania, winning its 20 electoral votes. And finally, adding to that Arizona's difference of 10,457 votes, had just half of these Biden's voters supported Trump, then he would have carried Arizona's 11 electoral college votes. This would skyrocket Trump to 279 compared to Biden's 259, meaning at this very moment, former president would be sitting in the White House. So in total, Trump was short just 51,950 votes from winning the presidency. And that is, my dear viewers, why both Harris and Trump have poured over $10 billion in 7 swing states. If previous election got that close, you can only imagine how close the upcoming election in November will be. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let us know in comments, who do you think will win the presidential election? I think I will upload 2 more election prediction videos, one throughout the October and the last one at the very beginning of November. Have a nice day guys, and stay tuned.